Hello and welcome to Fundamentals of Effective Grant Writing, Module 4.1, where we'll talk about modular budgets and budget justification. So what is the difference between a modular budget and a traditional budget? NIH budgets are used for R-level grants, R01, R3, R15, R21, R31, requesting $250,000 or less in annual direct costs and are budgeted in $225,000 increments. So if using a modular budget, you'll want to use the PHS 398 modular budget form and not complete the R&R budget form. So it's one or the other. If you use Cayuse as your research administration software like I do, you could uncheck the R&R budget form and select the PHS 398 modular budget form. And I'll show you an example of that. So here's the Cayuse portal. You might have a different way of submitting proposals, but this is what University of Delaware uses, is a software or a portal called Cayuse. And notice here, this is a grant that I submitted on December 11th, 2023. And notice that I have R&R budget unchecked, and I have the PHS 398 modular budget checked. So I used a modular budget for this particular grant. Okay, so the first step in creating a modular budget is, it may seem a little strange, but constructing a traditional breakout budget. So most institutions, including the University of Delaware, need a breakout budget as an internal document. So you're going to need one anyway, even if you ultimately decide to use a modular budget. In most departments, there's a staff member or two assigned to help investigators with creating their budgets. So at UD, a given staff member helps faculty from several different departments. So just keep in mind that the sooner you alert that staff member who's going to help you that you are planning to submit a proposal, the better. Now, our staff person right now, Tracy Robinson, once you tell her that you're submitting a proposal, she'll ask you for the program announcement, if there's a subcontract, and the due date of the grant. So you don't need a lot of information, but just to get on her list of grants that are submitted so she can help plan her time. All right, so the items that you want to include in the breakout budget, which for us in the psychology department, we're lucky. We have, Tracy has already prepared a breakout budget template. So in your department, there probably is one as well. If not, let me know and I can send you the template. But here's the things to include in your breakout budget: the salaries and fringe benefit costs of all the folks that are going to be a part of this project. Travel expenses, and you'll need to divide the travel expenses into domestic and foreign travel. If you're supporting graduate students, you'll need to pay a portion of the tuition cost, and your grants office can help you with what that figure is. If you use animals in your research, you'll need to figure in animal cost, not just purchasing the animals, but the per diem cost that is charged once they arrive at University of Delaware or your institution. You may have core facility charges. So, for example, my lab uses the bioimaging center to do some of our histological confirmation. So you may have those kinds of charges. And then supplies needed to conduct the research. So these are going to be all kinds of things. For us, surgical supplies and things that are used for the experiment usually once and have to be discarded. So, things like gauze and Q-tips and things like that that we have to throw away. So equipment, on the other hand, is there's at University of Delaware, there's a $5,000 $5,000 maximum that you can use to call something supply versus equipment. So if you're purchasing something that is one piece of equipment that is more than $5,000, then it needs to be designated as equipment and budgeted that way. So your staff member admin can also help you with that designation as well. So those are just some examples of items to include in your breakout budget. Your specific research may have some other categories, and you may not have some of the categories that I listed. Okay, so that's step one. So step two, you'll figure out your annual direct cost. First, calculate your average direct cost per year. So there's going to need to be an increase in your direct cost. I would figure 1 to 2% per year, just because of increased costs, inflation, et cetera. So calculate your average direct cost per year and then round up to the next $25,000 module. So NIH prefers that you request the same number of modules per year. So the assumption underlying that is that you'll have a little bit more money than you need the first couple of years and maybe not enough money in the last few years. And you are permitted, keep in mind, to carry over money from year one, for example, to year two. You can carry over up to 25% of the budget without even having to get special permission from NIH. If you need to carry over more, then that's where you would need to reach out to your program officer. If you do have uneven modules, it's not a big deal. You just need to provide a justification, and I'll talk about that at the end. So the next step is really the easiest step. So you're going to fill out the budget forms for each budget period. Cayuse makes this really easy. So there's some forms that get filled out automatically as you enter information. You'll need to know your institution's indirect or F&A rate. UD's is currently 60%. And keep in mind that only the direct cost needs to be multiples of $25,000. Once you figure in the indirects, it's going to be a different figure. All right, so the next thing you have to do is prepare the personnel justification. So you're going to list all the personnel who will contribute to the project, whether they're actually salaried by the grant or not. You'll include their name, the person months of effort, and their role on the project. Do not include salaries or fringe benefits. And then make sure that in your justification of undergraduate and graduate students, that it's their contribution to the research and not their training. So if you make make a comment about this being for a graduate student's training, then that's not appropriate for this grant mechanism, and you should consider having your student apply for a training grant instead. All right, next, for some people, if you have a consortium or a subcontractual relationship that is included in the proposal, then you'll have to provide a consortium justification. If you don't, then you don't need to upload anything under consortium justification. Just leave it blank. So if you do, you have to name the organization with which you have a relationship, along with the specific investigator involved. You'll list the person months of effort and the role of each person, but don't include salary or fringe benefit information, similar to the personnel justification. And then you'll have to make sure to designate the institution as foreign or domestic, even if it seems obvious. It's University of Texas. It's still, you'll still need to specify this. All right, the last step that you may or may not need is the additional narrative justification. You will need to justify any increase or decrease in the budget for any year by one or more modules. You may add or eliminate a salaried person, for example, or purchase a major piece of equipment. And so it just has to make sense to the reviewers who are reading the grant why you would have a different modules, different amounts in your budget from year to year. And that makes perfect sense. If you only need a person for the first 3 years, then it's justified. It's well justified to have them only listed the first 3 years, and then your budget would go down. A major piece of equipment usually would be in the first year. So a lot of grants, I think, have a larger budget that have uneven budgets from year to year, have a larger budget in the first year than the subsequent years. Okay, so that's all about modular budgets. Modular budgets are fairly easy. The next video that I'm going to do is going to be on the breakout budgets. So that's a little bit more complicated. So stay tuned for that.